Alrighty guys, welcome to a Marshall McLuhan video. I want to do a good job of explaining to you McLuhan's theories through my words. So you're writing your synthesis paper, so you need to read, comprehend, and summarize McLuhan, and that is a lot to swallow for an English 101 class. So I'm going to help you along in that process. Written on the board, Marshall McLuhan, he's the man you know and love. I realize the blue's a little tough to see. I've written under that his infamous, or famous, equation, the medium is the message. You guys have done a great job already exploring this topic. I just want to help you walk through it. You know, it's my job as a teacher to better help you understand. So we can break down the medium to extensions of ourselves. Anything that is an extension of the human animal is a medium. We are man, the tool user. We are not as fast as cheetahs. We are not as strong as bears. We cannot swim like fish, and we cannot fly like birds. But we have these magical little things called opposable thumbs, and we make tools to better adapt to our environment. So anything we do to extend ourselves is a medium. Marshall McLuhan would say a fork is an extension of our hands because we can eat without getting dirty or without getting our hands hot, you know, if we're eating something hot. It extends us. Marshall McLuhan, I'll be right back, would say a chair is an extension of ourselves. Have you guys ever gone on a camp out or you go to an all-day concert at the Gorge or something and you're just standing for hours? Your legs get really sore. You have to sit all the way on the floor, and that kind of hurts your back a little bit, and then you have to get all the way up, and it's hard on your knees, and you get stiff, right? Ancient cave people experienced the exact same effects of like gorge numb butt, so they invented the chair. The chair, you don't have to bend your knees super far to sit down. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground. You don't get as stiff. It's so much more comfortable. The chair is literally an extension of our butt. Can you imagine if you had the biggest butt in the world? You could sit down by just doing like this. You could take a load off just by rocking back on your heels with your big butt. The chair is an extension of our butt. The fork is an extension of our hands. The phone is an extension of our voice. The telephone, as I said, is an extension of our voice, which gets a little different. Let me see if I can make that blue a little easier to see. Who knows? All you probably did was see up my nose. The telephone is an extension of our voice, extensions of ourselves. And then it gets more sticky as we get to things like the internet as extensions of our brain plus our voice. It gets a little crazy. But just to help you better understand McLuhan, the medium is anything that is the extension of ourselves, okay? The message, what McLuhan would say, is the social consequences, the personal consequences, and the unintended consequences of that medium. So what you should really take away from learning about the telephone is the social, personal, and unintended consequences. That's the real message of the telephone, not that it can just help us talk to other people, right? The message of television isn't Lost or LA Law or, The Simpsons. Those are content that come through the television, but the message of the television is how it changes how we decorated our house. It changes how we ate dinner. It changes how we interact with each other, how we vote, how we vote for political candidates, how we shop, what we look for in prospective romantic partners. The television had huge social, personal, and unintended consequences. Now, I drew some pictures here. Hopefully you can see. This is a little stick person, and this is a little stick person. By social, McLuhan means person to person, that this extension of ourselves changes how we interact with other people. Social, that makes sense. Personal, here's a stick person, and this is the planet Earth, though it kind of looks like a soccer ball. Personal consequences is it changes how a person interacts with their environment, the world around them, right? A house is like an extension of our skin, and it keeps us cooler in the hot weather, drier in the rainy weather. That's a personal consequences, how we as people interact with our random environment differently than like, us in a state of nature, or us as cavemen would. And lastly is the question mark, the unintended consequences. And that's pretty what Marshall McLuhan's talking about. You always want to look at the deeper current. One of the most famous examples of the medium as a message is dynamite. When Alfred Nobel invented dynamite, he envisioned that it would allow Western nations that were expanding to blow through mountains, level rocky terrain, so you could set railroad ties for better expansion of goods, expansion of people, expansion of markets, expansion of ideas. And he was really excited about that. He invented dynamite. Sorry, my computer's falling asleep. He invented dynamite for the betterment of civilization because, railroad tracks need to be perfectly level so that the vibrations didn't screw up the train. He never saw that dynamite would get used as bombs and explosives. It would murder people. People would rob banks with it. That was an unintended consequence of dynamite. Marshall McLuhan, if he had a time machine, would go back in time, and the second Nobel invented dynamite would say, OMG, I see that those are going to be some unintended consequences, Alfred Nobel. The message of dynamite is more explosives, more train robberies, more kind of doom and gloom. There's a famous parable, it's kind of maybe a fib, we don't know, that a newspaper thought Alfred Nobel had died before he had, and the obituary they had on file that they immediately ran said Alfred Nobel was this architect of death and doom. Because he invented TNT dynamite, there's been so much more death. Allegedly, Alfred Nobel, still living, read his obituary because the newspaper had made a mistake and said, oh my God, people are going to remember me as an architect of doom and gloom. That is so not how I want to be remembered. So he created the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know why I just did that. So that's one thing. Dynamite is very McLuhanian. Always think of the unintended consequences. Cell phones, they're great. You can talk to people when you're out in the world. But oh wait, cell phones lead to car accidents. Cell phones lead to people like Brett Favre taking photographs of inappropriate things and texting them to inappropriate people and cheating on his wife. So who assumed when the cell phone was first getting invented that what it would do was lead to car accidents and more marital infidelity? It was an unintended consequence of the cell phone. And I would say that McLuhan's big idea is that creating tools, extensions of ourselves, is inherent to the human animal. We are always trying to interact with other people better. We are always trying to interact with the world around us better. But sometimes we get so excited about the new thing, the new tool, that we don't really think about the unintended consequences, or, how could it really mess with our interactions with people? How could it really mess with our interactions with the world? Dynamite, supposed to make us interact with the world better, we ended up killing people. Cell phones, supposed to make us interact with people better, oh wait, now we're not as aware of our environment and we're getting in car crashes. The medium is the message. This is the easiest way for me to kind of translate this into things. So keep that in mind. This is the kind of crux of it. One other thing I want to talk about from the packet is the phrase psychic charges. McLuhan talks about that. So I'm going to erase the medium is the message. He has a parable about Rome and Rome's relationship to slaves, that because Rome used slaves, everyone in Rome was a slave. I am not going to spell psychic correct. Oh, I might have. I want to explain psychic charges, because McLuhan would almost say that mediums take on almost a human personality. Mediums have personality. Because when you're in a car and you're driving and you get rear-ended, you say, oh my gosh, somebody hit me. When we're playing video games, you're like, oh my gosh, somebody killed me. We see the man in the moon, the human animal does. We so easily extend ourselves out into the world. And our car becomes us, someone hit me. Our character in a video game becomes us, somebody killed me. When we're watching movies and someone gets their heart broken, I'll never let you go, Jack, or, now I'm breaking my own heart. we make ourselves that protagonist. That's just something the human animal does. So McLuhan says that we relate to our mediums like we relate to other people. We kind of personify them. So you have to imagine, what kind of personality would the telephone have? What kind of personality would the internet have? What kind of personality would Facebook have? What kind of personality does the car have? That's something to keep in mind, the personality of your medium, because we do that as people. It's how we interact with tools. We're going to subconsciously give them personalities. So this is another thing to talk about. So the psychic charge that our medium has. So back to the Roman slaves. Everyone in Rome knew the economy was dependent on slaves, without a doubt. They probably didn't say it every day, but they couldn't get beyond that realization. The economy was dependent on slaves. It's kind of like if you were the popular jock in high school and everyone knew it, but let's say you went to study really hard and you wanted to go to like Stanford or something. People would look at you and say, oh wait, you're the popular jock. Why are you studying hard to go to Stanford? Aren't you going to go get a football scholarship? Or, oh, don't you just want a six-pack of beer and find a hot tub to dance around in? People will always think of you as the popular jock, and so therefore you have to go against that stereotype. That every time you walk into a situation, you have to say to yourself, people are going to assume I'm just another dumb jock. And that's something that then gets trapped in your psyche that you can never really shake. People think I'm just a dumb jock. Or if you're the pretty girl at school, when people are nice to you, or when people offer to help you, maybe you always think to yourself, are they just being nice because they think I'm hot? Are they just being nice because they think I might go on a date with them? You get very hung up in this psychic mindset of how people treat you and the things that you like label yourself. I'm just a dumb jock. I'm just the pretty girl. And then that'll limit your actions and the decisions you make. Maybe if you are the captain of the football team, you don't join chess club. Maybe you really want to play chess, but you think to yourself, I'm the captain of the football team. I'm the captain of the football team. If I join the chess club, people are going to think that's weird. People are going to mock me. I better not do it. Okay? It'll limit how you interact in the world because of what you kind of keep in your psyche. Or if you're the pretty girl, maybe someone's just really being nice to you because they're friendly and they want to be your friend, but you think, oh, this person's trying to take advantage of me, or this person just wants to get in my pants, and so you kind of like shun people who could be your friend because you're so paranoid of, the psychic charge you carry around. McLuhan talks about that once we start adopting mediums, we're changing kind of our psyche, and then it limits or changes the decisions we make in our lives. And this gets really mumbo-jumbo and sticky, and hopefully you're bearing with me. Once we adopt a medium too heavily, whether it's the cell phone, or the airplane, or the TV, we're going to start to have a relationship with it, because our mediums have, we give them personalities. And then once we take that personality onto ourselves, it's going to change how we act. It's like Rome with slaves. Rome always knew it had slaves. It knew it couldn't function without slaves, so it became a slave to itself. Rome became a slave. Why is America becoming a country of couch potatoes? Because we've been addicted to TV for 50 years. It's just who we are. And it limits how we act or interact with other people in the world. Maybe you're the kid with really bad acne, and you say to yourself, every day you wake up, you're like, I'm just that kid with acne. You're not going to ask out the person you like. Maybe you're not going to go out for theater, even though you want to, because you don't want to stand in front of people and be judged because you're that kid with acne. It's something that you keep in your psyche, and it changes how you approach the world. It changes how you interact with people, the world. Psychic charges. So think about your medium's personality, how societies and individuals add that personality to their own, and how it changes their potential actions. Hopefully that makes sense. This is really sticky. Just chew on all of these ideas. McLuhan just opens up lots of hows, lots of whys. It should really get you thinking deep, and writing is just thinking. As you approach your McLuhan essay, just free write. Set that egg timer for 10 minutes. What do I think the personality of my medium is? What do I think the social, personal, unintended consequences are? And just go at it. The tetrad is really helpful because social, personal, unintended, those are huge bites to take. Even Melinda May cannot take bites that big, so you break it down even further into those 4 questions of the tetrad. This was a long video. I wish you great luck.